Hi, and welcome to an episode of West Michigan Scouters. Today we're going to be talking about the West Michigan District for the FRC season 2026. And at this event, we're going to have 40 teams, so we're going to have a full roster. Of these 40 teams, 5 of which have already competed at a Week 1 event, 11 of which competed at a Week 2 event, 19 of which competed at a Week 3 event, and 5 have not competed yet this year. The 5 that haven't competed this year are the 1918 NC Gears, 5256 Atomics, 9206 GRP Titans, 9671 RoboSnacks, and 9721 Red Hawk Robotics. Of the teams that have competed before, 4 of which were captains at their prior events, 13 were first picks, and 7 were second picks. This event looks like it's going to be fairly stacked with several powerhouse teams like NC Gears, Tech Vikes, Trisonics, and the Wayland Wildcats. Not only that, there's the East Side team Biting Bulldogs, as well as several near powerhouse veteran teams like Bob, Wobots, The Charge, Wavelength, among others. Now, as I get into the who's who and what's what, I want to kind of talk about my tier system. So I use a A, B, C, D type scale rather than including an S tier. And that's just kind of how I'm going through it. So like an A robot would be a robot that is expected to win it all, aka like an S tier. A B robot would be a solid first pick. A C robot would be like a strong second pick, and a D robot would be like a weaker second pick, and so on. So as I progress, I'm going to kind of ascend from the teams that I think will do well, and then to the teams that I think are going to be outstanding. So, without much ado, let me get into how I think Grand Valley is going to shake out this year. So, starting my list, I'm going to start in the C tier, and I'm not going to really talk about the D or E tiers. Starting off, 3572 wavelength. The next, and this is the C tier, is the robot where I think they, if they're not a first pick, you would be a fool to not pick these robots as a strong second pick. And I think if any of these C tier robots end up as a second pick, that alliance is going to be quite strong. So, like I said, 3572 wavelength. You have 7054 SC Sailors, 288 Robodogs, 5623 Robotic Rams. And then I have 2 other C's, but I would mark these more as like C pluses. Like they're not just strong second picks; they would be exceptional second picks. And that would be Team 74, Team Chaos, as well as 3425, the Pulsars. Now, as we get into the B tier, which is going to be my solid first picks, I wanted to start off with some B minuses, which are going to be robots that I think are unfortunately way too good to be a second pick. And so that's probably not going to be an option for them. But unfortunately, I'm worried that they might not be as strong as some of these other strong and solid first picks. And that's going to be 2619, the Charge, as well as 6753, the Robo Kings. I think these are both very strong robots. And if you were able to get them for a second pick, which I just don't think is going to happen, your alliance is going to go far places. Now I'm going to get into my B tier, which are the solid first picks. These aren't like your robots that are going to win it all, but they might be on the alliance with one of those A tier robots that do win it all. These are very solid picks. If you pick one of these for your first round pick, or if they end up as a captain, they are going to be a very solid first round pick. And that's going to start with Team 85 Bob. And I know Bob struggled a little bit getting caught on balls, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing them see if they have an opportunity to fix that between their last event and this event. Just because that's the only reason why I have them so low on this list. But I do think they are a very solid first pick, even as is. An additional very solid first pick would be the Trisonics. 4003 has always builds solid bots, and this year is not an exception. Going along with that theme is 3357, the Comets, also an exceptional bot. But I do want to make a distinction between this next robot, because I call this next robot a B plus robot, because I think while I don't know that they are expected to win this event, it would not be surprising whatsoever if this next robot ends up as the captain or the first pick of the winning alliance. And that's going to be 141, the Wobots. Now, as we transition into our top tier, these robots, I think we have three in this top tier, and I think it is very likely that one, if not more, of these robots will be on the Winning Alliance, and I would expect all three of these robots to end up in the finals. And that's going to be starting off with 6090, the Wayland Wildcats, 2054, Tech Vikes, and 3539, the Biting Bulldogs. I think any one of these three robots has every opportunity to end up in finals, and I think if any two of these three robots end up in an alliance together, that alliance is likely to go all the way. Now, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if one of these robots, like the odd man out, ends up with 141, and they pose a credible threat if not able to win, but I do think there's a distinction where these are the top tier of robots at this event. But like I said, there are teams like 1918 as well as the others that have not competed at this event. There's 5 others so that were not including these calculations, and I wouldn't put it past 1918 to end up somewhere high on this list as well. So I think they're a team to look out for. But this is how I expect the event to turn out. I'm looking forward to actually seeing it play out and see if maybe one of these other robots like Comets or Trisonics or Bob end up as that first pick and kind of disrupt this flow, because that would be really just interesting to see how this all plays out. But this is my analysis for West Michigan, the West Michigan competition, and I look forward to seeing what happens out there. See you next week.